Hey, everybody, welcome to this kind of emergency podcast. This is going to be Mondays. We were just going to let Sundays roll on into Monday. That's what we normally do. But, just as luck would have it, we get a commitment like 5 minutes after I posted the last podcast. So, yes, got the same shirt on. No, I haven't shaved since then. Yes, we're going to break it down because we got a huge commitment on Sunday afternoon, and Jimmy and I want to talk about it. Let's get into it. Locked on Bama.
Locked on Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked on Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. Jimmy, how are you today?
I'm still doing fine. You asked me that earlier today. I'm still doing fine, maybe even better since hey, not a lot of Nick Saban's achievements shock me, but this shocked me.
Okay, so we're talking about Justice Haynes is committed to Alabama. Rivals considers him the number one running back in the country. Most services, I should say, consider him a top 4, top 5 back in the country. We were talking about recruiting just a little bit on the last episode, which was ironically earlier today, and we were talking about Hunter Osborne. I thought that may be the guy to pop next. I really gave no consideration to Justice Haynes giving a verbal commitment to Alabama at all, much less today. But you know what? More power to him. I like him a lot. His film is very good. Obviously, Rivals loves him, the number 1 back in the country, according to them. I think you guys have him pretty high up there at on 3. Very excited about this. I think it's great. What do you think, Jimmy?
Well, it's super. I mean, it's unbelievable, really. We had, I wouldn't say a heads up at On 3, but we did have piecing a couple things together. Some good reporting throughout the industry that covers Alabama. And there were some hints, maybe. I think a big hint was Alabama not really being involved at the very end with Caleb Jackson from Louisiana, because Alabama liked where they sat with other backs. Emphasis being 2. Alabama wanted 2 in this group, and it was just hard for me, even though I heard some whispers. It was hard for me to wrap my head around the idea that Alabama would end up with 2 backs, but potentially backs as good as Justice Haynes and Richard Young. I still believe Alabama is in a really good spot with Richard Young, despite the Haynes commitment. So, hey, shame on me for not giving Nick Saban enough credit, I guess, as much as I say he's the greatest of all time. Today cinches it again. What a huge deal to get a 5-star running back from Georgia, who was a legacy prospect. His dad played football for Georgia. And Alabama, as we all know, is heavily pursuing a different 5-star running back in Richard Young. So unbelievable that Alabama pulled this off. And yeah, we had an idea, though I had no idea there would be a commitment, or there would be a commitment today. Again, that was shocking. If we knew that, we would have told you guys earlier when we recorded just a few hours ago. That, hey, something could be happening today. At that time, I knew nothing. In terms of who we'd be getting a commitment today. Again, I'm not 100% shocked that Justice Haynes chose Alabama. I am 100% shocked when you factor in all the factors and then throw in it was a surprise Sunday commitment the afternoon before SEC Media Days.
I was going to stop you before you said I'm muted. I was going to stop you. I've got it. I caught
Okay.
it.
I didn't even say
it sure sounds like even the staff was a little bit caught off guard. Justice Haynes, he posted the video on Instagram of his commitment, and like now it's not even just a video of your commitment. It's like this story, it's all you do with your highlights and then you working out and then you praying. And I mean, that's like everybody does this, right? It's not necessarily unique to him, but he did somebody else videoed him FaceTiming who I assume was Robert Gillespie. I couldn't really make it out, but I think it was Gillespie, the running back coach. And
correct.
He was like, "Yep, I know where I want to go, and I'm coming there." And Gillespie was like, "This is awesome. This is great." but and I also read in a story that I think even the Alabama staff was like, wow, okay, great, but maybe this was all recorded last week, right just before the Caleb Jackson commitment, because it felt like Alabama was in that too. So maybe the staff has known about this. Maybe everybody's known about this that's intimate with it.
The timing was definitely Alabama was recruiting Caleb Jackson, was interested in Caleb Jackson. Then Alabama gets the Haynes commitment last weekend and pulled out of the Caleb Jackson sweep. So Caleb was aware. That's how it appears, that Caleb was aware Alabama had already, and of course Alabama wanted to be quiet about it, and to everyone's, everyone that knew about it and stayed quiet. That's not easy to do because this apparently it happened a week ago. But you got to give the kid, preparation and time, and Justice gets to announce this, not anybody else. And wow, huge. We'll see. Hopefully it sticks. I've got no reason to think it won't. Very professional kid. I think this will stick, and then let's see if it has a positive or negative effect with Alabama's pursuit of Richard Young. But hey, Alabama has a 5-star running back now in the bag.
Jimmy, let me tell everybody about LinkedIn. As the sun comes out and small businesses are back in business, LinkedIn Jobs makes it easier to grow your team. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the people you want to interview faster and for free. Go check them out. We love LinkedIn Jobs over at Robinson Iron, and I know you'll love them too. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so your network can help you find the right people to hire. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you like to interview and who you'd like to hire. It's why small businesses rank LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Go check them out today. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. LinkedIn is the absolute best. Also, I'll tell you about NFL Top 10. NFL Top 50. You can do it in NFL Top 10. It'll be there eventually. But you're probably listening to this on July 18th. And right now it's out there. Locked On is giving you the 50 most valuable players in conjunction with BetOnline in the NFL. And this is according to the BetOnline odds makers. Available today on Locked On NFL, wherever you get your podcast, and on YouTube. Okay, Jimmy, so where do you think this puts us with Richard Young? That's the first thing somebody asked. It was funny. We posted a video of Sunday/Monday's podcast. And one of the first comments was, okay, y'all posted this a little early because we just got a commitment from Justice Haynes. And what does this do with Richard Young? I want you to answer that first, but I want to tell you something that people may not know. I didn't know this. Apparently, Haynes was the guy that caught the touchdown, the famous "we stepped on his face with a hobnail boot" quote.
Yeah, that's it. Justice's dad.
Veron, is Verron, Veron
Davis. I mean, Haynes. Yeah.
Haynes. Yeah. No, you said Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Vernon. I'm like, Vernon Davis.
But that's interesting to me that that he's the one that caught the hobnail boot touchdown. That's pretty cool.
Makes him a significant player in Georgia history. I mean, he's a significant player. He's not Herschel Walker. He's not, Garrison Hurst, but he's a significant player in Georgia history. The kid is from the Atlanta area. It's just unbelievable. Now, how it affects Richard Young. First of all, on the surface, I would say it has a negative effect, right? I mean, most running backs, like quarterbacks, they like to be the guy. They like to be the back, not just one of the backs, but the back. And on the surface, you'd go, this is going to ding Alabama's chances with Richard Young. And Georgia, is in a good spot with Richard Young. So in that sense, it's a negative. But the evidence that we have, Luke, what we know, what we think we know, and what we do know is that this may not have anything but a positive effect on Richard Young. Haynes himself is quoted today in the commitment stories as saying he's recruiting Richard Young. He wants Young to be in this class too. Alabama, more so than any other school, has done an incredible job of convincing backs that they're better off sharing the load. That's why Alabama is famous for having a deep stable of backs and using, 3 to 4 during the season. So you factor all that in, and yeah, I would still project today that Richard Young will also sign with Alabama, and it's unbelievable. But hey, for everybody that immediately starts thinking of Richard Young, think of this. I mean, you want a 5-star back, right? You got one. So Justice Haynes is a 5-star back committed to Alabama, regardless of what Richard Young does. In terms of a comp, Charles Power from On3 comps him to Damian Harris. I see that. I like it a lot. I think there's some Josh Jacobs in him. He might be a tad bigger and thicker, maybe a little bit, but Justice has moves that remind me of Josh. I mean, he's a make you miss guy that once he realizes you're not going to miss and he's got to put his head down, he will run through the contact. That perfectly, to me, describes Josh Jacobs, who's a make you miss guy until that option's off the table, and then he's just going to run you over, even though he's not the biggest guy in the world. In that sense, Justice Haynes reminds me of Josh. He'll be a great fit at Alabama. He'll be a great fit anywhere. He's a legitimate 5-star back. I did a film breakdown of him back in February when I thought, like everybody else did, that Justice Haynes would end up at Georgia. So you can go to the Bama On3 board and read it. I was raving about him when I was saying, yeah, it looks like he'll be a Georgia Bulldog, but look how good this kid is. So that wasn't me just, hyping up the Alabama dude. I really didn't think Alabama had a huge chance here, being that he was a Georgia legacy and a Georgia in-state player and was highly prioritized by the Bulldogs. Different position, different side of the ball, but in some ways, just kind of what happened with Alabama and Peter Woods, right? Where everybody sort of, penciled in Peter Woods to Alabama and he shocks people and goes to Clemson. I assure you, the Georgia fans got a dose of that today with Justice Haynes going to Alabama, shocked as Alabama fans are to get him. I can assure you that Georgia fans are shocked to lose him.
Yeah, in fact, one of the Georgia moderators from the 24/7 site was like, this is the most shocking moment in recruiting since I've been following it, from a Georgia perspective. He was like, I didn't see this coming, which, again, testament to Haynes, to his family, to the people that shot that video of him talking to Gillespie, of the Alabama coaches, keeping this all down low, because keep it down home, that's what it is. Because that nobody knew. So pretty interesting. Jimmy, I need to tell everybody about Bet Online. Bet Online is BetOnline.net, I should say, is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's Major League Baseball drafts going on right now. You can do. You can probably bet on NBA Summer League, even though it's about over. But you can bet on NFL futures. I know you can bet on preseason stuff, which is coming up very, very shortly. You can bet on college futures, all that stuff. Bet Online is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check on all your favorite sports and events, including MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline is where the game starts. All right, Jimmy, to wrap this up, the other good news about this, number one, is certainly going to elevate Alabama's class. Number two, Buford is like, dare I say, they are even more star-studded than, say, Thompson right now or Hoover in their heyday. And here's the other thing. Buford and Thompson play each other on August 19th in Georgia at 5:30 in the afternoon. I think that game's televised. I'm not 100% sure. I just found out I'm going to be calling the Auburn-Hoover game in Crampton Bowl. And I'll always go call a good high school football in Alabama. But this is the year that, Hoover doesn't have a lot of prospects. Auburn's got a couple, but one of them I know is going to Auburn University. and the others,
Pointer.
Alabama's not really looking at. But that's crazy. Soon as he committed and I started investigating his high school a little more, I was like, man, I know Thompson's playing somebody, and this high school is loaded. I hope it's Buford. And I looked it up, and it's Buford, and that's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, I'm doing more research right now. Weird that you bring up. I'm doing some research that is not anywhere near complete, but that when Justice, who's transferring to Buford, he didn't play for Buford last season, but he's transferring to Buford. Off the top of my head, Luke, Alabama has signed, under Saban in particular, a lot of kids from Buford and are in good shape with kids from Buford next season. And I believe, and again, I'm working on it right now, so I don't have any numbers for you. And if the numbers don't work out like I think they are, then you'll never see this piece from me either, because if the numbers don't work out, then it's not a story. But kind of the point of what I'm working on is somehow, some way, Buford to Bama is a pipeline and Buford to Georgia is not. And I don't know the reasons. I don't know. I'm not even going to dig and find out. I'm just going to potentially lay it out there that, hey, if you're at Buford, you might be going to Alabama, but you may not be going to Georgia. Just kind of a weird thing where Alabama does really well there and the Georgia Bulldogs don't, I think.
And it's interesting, but it's almost like Auburn High School to Auburn. I mean, Auburn high school kids just typically don't go to Auburn, it seems like. It's kind of weird. But, look, it is what it is. I'm trying to look up Buford right now on the map, and I am, and it's northeast of Atlanta, and it's not far from Athens at all. I mean, this would be like, it's closer than Thompson to Tuscaloosa, I'd say, based on this map I'm looking at.
Hey, and some kids, this is just a fact, and I think it was a factor of Peter Woods. I really do, after talking to people. Some kids want to leave for college, and leaving isn't 30 minutes away or 40 minutes away. Some kids want to go off to college. A lot of people listen to this show. I would ask you, I bet a lot of people listen to the show went to Alabama, and I bet most of you listening to the show that went to Alabama weren't from Tuscaloosa. Some of you may have been, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I'm just saying, I mean, I've got 3 or 4 colleges really close to me here in Mobile. As a matter of fact, where I live, I am literally, the drive to LSU is slightly shorter than it is to Tuscaloosa. The drive to Florida State is about equidistant to the drive to Alabama from where I am. But those are still significant, it's a significant distance. I mean, I left home to go to Alabama. I mean, that's, again, it was like going to Florida State or LSU from how far the drive is. But I could have gone to South Alabama. I could have, even, University of Mobile, Spring Hill, and Luke, of course, from Alexander City, had multiple colleges in Birmingham closer to him than Alabama.
Well, I had colleges salivating over me, Jimmy. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. But I think you make a great point here that my son, who lives in Ohio now, my 18-year-old lives in Ohio. If you listen to this podcast, he's going to Arizona State next year. And when we were in school, when I went to Alabama, it was, I had a lot of friends that went to Alabama too, and it was a much different experience for them because I had already gone to Indian Springs, which was about an hour and 15 minutes from home, and I lived on campus for 4 years. So I knew what going away to school meant. But my friends who were in Alex City, always been in Alex City, and then they come to Alabama, those 2 hours don't seem like a lot. It seemed like a long way from home. It doesn't anymore. The world's a smaller place. When my son going to Arizona State, if I had gone to Arizona State in 1991 when I graduated high school, my family would be like, I guess we'll see you when you graduate. I just guess we'll see you later. I don't know. And all my son and I can talk about is, I can't wait to come and go to a few Cardinals games with you. And then one weekend I'll just come just for the hell of it and do something else. I'm going to go see him 4 or 5 times while he's in school every year. And that's in Arizona. But it is so easy to get everywhere now. And so when you say going off to college, like, you're right, leaving Birmingham to go to Tuscaloosa is not going off to college anymore. And you really got to get get out of here.
Yeah. Some kids want to do that. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to go off. There's nothing wrong with stay home. But I do believe that is a factor with some kids. Alabama's been recruiting kids from Tuscaloosa forever. Believe it or not, Alabama has failed to sign kids from Tuscaloosa that they wanted. And in some of those instances, I believe the kid wanted to leave home and go to school, away. And I think that might be the situation with all these Buford kids. Because again, my research, I'm just starting it. Hopefully it proves what I think it will, and it'll be an interesting piece for you guys to read tomorrow.
If it doesn't prove it, I still want to do a pod on all the stuff you got wrong. I think that'd be.
I'll throw out the tweet. I'll throw out a tweet. If I don't write, the tweet will say something like, Nick Saban has signed 7 players from Buford, and during the same period of time, Georgia has signed 5. Because that's not a story. That's a story, right?
But it is a story. That's just the thing that happened.
Yeah,
it's not a story at all.
That's not a story at all. It's just like, what does that mean? But if Alabama has signed 9 kids from Buford and Georgia has signed 1,
that's a story.
That's a story.
That is. Okay.
So we'll find out.
All right, buddy.
Particularly as you've already hinted, and we didn't fully flesh this out for everybody, but people that don't know, Buford's junior class, which means the class of 24, there are like 3 national top 100 players all at Buford that are rising juniors. So this piece is also relevant to that because if Alabama's doing better at that Georgia high school, that's obviously a plethora of talent. That is big as it relates to King Edwards is one of those kids. That's his real name.
I mean, what an awesome name. I mean, it's like the parents were fighting over what to name him. They're like, let's just call him both of them. I mean, by the way, we're gonna end it on this, but I just, for whatever reason, was watching SEC Network, and they were doing that series they had a couple of years ago, like history of SEC football by decade, and they started the 90s, and they do the whole thing about that Alabama team that won the championship in '92 and whatever. And God bless. I mean, the first thought that went through my mind was like, look, I love. There's nothing that I love more than Nick Saban's Alabama. I mean, as a whole. But that '92 deal where we intercept. We return a touchdown or an interception for a touchdown in the first ever SEC title game. It would have ruined title games forever. We might not have any if we had lost that. And we returned that against Steve Spurrier for a touchdown with Antonio Langham, which was almost very Auburn-esque. And then we destroy a Miami team that, frankly, if they had beaten us in that bowl game, people would probably consider them to be one of the top 7 or 8 teams all time in college football. I would say even today, that team was loaded. And man, that it just gives me chills. That '92 team is still so special. Like,
it'll always be maybe. I mean, as blasphemous as this sounds, I think that '92 team might always be my favorite as well.
They're not the best.
No, I said favorite. Yeah,
I agree.
Just like you did. Yeah, the 2020 Alabama team is probably the best one I've ever seen. The 1992 may always be my favorite, and I think that's common for us at our age because I think we tend to like things that happened when we were roughly the same age as the players.
When everything was, we still had. Well, you and I are done pretty good with our hair, but when a lot of our friends still had their hair and stuff. Okay, all right, buddy, that's gonna do it. Thanks for jumping back on and getting in here to do a emergency pod, and we'll talk to you tomorrow, buddy. Roll Tide until then.
Roll Tide.